Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us. It's Leo season. It's my birthday. me.
I was going to intro for you with the song, and you were like, hi, it's me.
Okay, we'll do that again. Go ahead,
I love that.
No. Introduce. Okay,
I don't remember the song now.
Que sera.
All right, yeah. Will be.
Whatever will be.
Yep.
Creepy.
What does que sera mean? Does it mean what will be will be?
I believe so.
In what language?
Yeah, like whatever it is, it's going to be. Is it
Spanish?
Be nothing we can do.
I would guess.
I think so.
Why?
Yeah.
Is that a clue?
Is it? Is the name of the show a clue?
From? Where are people from?
It has to be. Or is it that like they're all from different places?
I feel like that's the case with any show like this. We're talking about From, which I'm sure the majority of you have never heard of. But we're here to introduce it to you. Think Lost or Manifest. That is what this is, but horror. So I've had fun.
It's so spooky. Hi, George is here.
George is also here. You should have spoken up, George. You're not like a regular guest. You're like, yeah. You don't have to be polite.
Yeah, we wanted to do From because number one, there's not enough attention on this show. Number two, it's George and I's like I don't think we've ever rewatched a show more. I don't think we've given as much thought to a show ever. We've watched it how many times, George?
I think we're on 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I've lost count.
Don't get me wrong.
We finish
either.
It.
If you hear me throughout this be like, oh my God, it's not because I don't like the show. I think it's a beautifully crafted, very good show. I'm just a wimpy baby.
You did great.
And that's my problem. I will say that it got, it got better as it went on. But it also, I was trying to explain to Rachel, it's like the psychological damage to me. Like I turn off all my lights at night and I can feel those things watching me. I don't know what to do about that.
I meant to send you one of the protection rocks. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I would like that, please.
There's one on my front door.
Genuinely would like one because I keep closing my door like that's going to do anything.
I seriously, every time we rewatch, I get nightmares. Every single time. I have nightmares. I'm in the town. There's monsters, like whatever. And that doesn't normally happen to me. I'm a very big horror fan. Am I the only one
excited about the prospect of maybe going to this place? I love it. It's relaxing. It's so like townsy, you know.
No,
yeah, it's
you could just go to Middle America and have the same thing except without the monsters.
It's the same thing. Oh my God!
Yeah,
I would
go sometime. With like bonus racism, probably George.
Oh my!
I'd rather be here than like the Walking Dead universe. Truly, like if I had to pick one, I'd rather be in Fromville.
Oh God, yes. I would pick that over zombies for sure.
Yeah, because at least we have something to use against them. We have the talisman. Like whether it really works or not.
I guess you could say like zombies can be killed and these things can't, but
I mean, I think they can be killed.
Well,
they killed Smiley. We call Smiley that Smiley monster.
Yeah, but then his like bile bullets didn't work on anything else. Like what the hell? And there's probably 2 evil things there. And so for everybody who has no idea what we're talking about, the premise of the show, besides the fact that I just like vaguely said think Lost Manifest, is that you're driving on a road, literally anywhere in America. It has to be America. And you come across a fallen tree, and then some ravens or crows start freaking out above you. And then you end up in this town that you literally cannot drive out of. And there's a bunch of people already there who come out and warn you that if you don't go inside at night, you're going to get killed. And you can believe them or not. If you don't, you'll die. If you do, you will be inside and you will see regular ass people walking around really slowly outside and be like, what's the big deal? Until you see somebody caught outside and they get literally fucking ripped apart. And they can't be killed. And the only thing that saves these people who are staying inside is this magical rock with a little symbol engraved in it that for some reason the rules say means that the evil creature monster things can't come inside. But they have to be at a doorway. And if you open the door, you break the rock's protection and you're fucked for the night. So unless apparently you run outside and then run back in and close the door again and lean on the rock and like wish really hard, that's the case.
We don't know. We just don't know the rules is like the most fascinating and frustrating part. We're 2 seasons deep. The 3rd season comes out on September 22nd. Extremely excited. Everyone's been waiting for it. But we just don't know. Like, do the talismans actually work or are they fucking with us? Are they playing with us? Like, are they playing with them?
I feel like the creatures might be fucking with them. I don't know.
Well, it's like Lauren said, it's all psychological torture. So
yeah.
And then in the preview for season 3,
the town feeds on their hope, according to like the second big bad thing, or the first. Who knows? I don't know.
Or the only.
There's probably yes. There's a little boy in tennis whites running around that only 2 to 3 people in the town can see, and he looks like he's helping people try to get home. It looks like maybe he did help one of them get home. At the end of the 2nd season, one of the main characters is supposedly back in the real world after being pushed out of a tower. So
that dang lighthouse.
Oh yeah, I hope this is all enticing you because I genuinely do think it's an interesting show. Rachel sent me the season 3.
4 people saw the child.
Who else
Sarah
saw
it
Victor?
in the woods too.
Oh well, I thought Sarah was just hearing him. I don't know.
I think she's
I don't know. He was pointing.
Okay.
So it's Victor, Sarah, Ethan,
and Tabitha.
Tabitha
saw. Oh, duh.
Yeah, he pushed her out the fucking tower.
But Boyd has not seen the boy in white. He's just seen the dogs. And the dogs are a whole other thing.
And the ballerina. He's seen the ballerina and he sees his wife all the time.
That music box.
Yeah.
Destroyed it.
The dogs do like Boyd though, or the singular dog. It's the same dog. So.
Well, it led him to the talisman, so it must like him.
Those actually
I
work.
need Jade to see it because if anyone's gonna get them out, it's Jade. So
I think
he's gonna have to.
I don't know. I don't know.
They need to feed Jade.
Jade has a small business going now. I think he's also.
Well, there's this whole theory that like
he's a supercomputer.
Is Jade going down the Christopher route? Is he going to be like driven so mad that it leads to another massacre? We don't know. Right. Because he's got Christopher's book. He's the only one seeing this symbol. But
that's like, we don't understand that either. Like, what the hell was that massacre? It looks like it was just the monsters. Those people were ripped apart like the monsters do. So
yeah.
And they didn't have,
my other ultimate question is, what are they killing them for? Because I don't think they're eating it. Like,
no, they're not. It's just for fun.
Yeah, they're just like playing hide and seek, and you just die if you get caught. All like very childlike. Lots of theories. Is Victor in control of all of it? We just don't know. But best believe I'm on every like subreddit and Facebook group.
Victor's been there since he was like an 8-year-old child is when he showed up, and everybody but him died. And then who knows how long he was in the town alone before more people started showing up. This was also before they knew about the talismans, so somehow this kid managed to hide every single night.
I guess it's implied the boy
he's
in white.
Now a 60-ish-year-old man or something. So.
And we've got season 3 coming around the corner, and that's got some clues in the trailer as well.
There's so many new things to dissect in that trailer. I don't know where to begin. I don't know. I'm just hoping for a few more answers. You can keep the mystery going. I know they do want to get to a season 5, which would be incredible.
Is that the plan? I know I read somewhere that MGM refused to let them do the show unless there was a plan that they gave them, and they told them the ending and everything. So hopefully, even if like God forbid something happens, they'll still come out and be like, "This was it." Like,
I will break into MGM Plus Studios, and I will. Please, I need to know how this ends, because there are shows sometimes that just they end like I think it was The Society on Netflix that was very like this. Catherine Newton was in that. I was very excited by the premise of that show, and then boop, goodbye after one season. And From is still pushing. So
you can watch season 1 on Amazon.
Seems like it. Yeah,
I don't know if you can, or for like if you have an Amazon Prime account. I don't know about season 2. Because Amazon was telling me I needed MGM Plus. I creatively watched it. But
chicken.
Yeah, but definitely. I mean, I want to encourage people to watch it, like give it views, but you know.
No, absolutely. Me too. Keep it going. Keep it pushing. We need to know what's going on. The actors in the show are incredible. Everything. It just. Like even when characters get on my nerves, like this Randall, like this Mr. Randall that has joined in season 2, obviously he gets on my nerves, but still it's like, I want to know what's going to happen. I want to watch it. I want to watch him interact. And even though they should have thrown him out before, like It's interesting.
Into the box.
He's still kicking.
We've got a lot of different personalities meshing together.
That's true too. Although Rachel would disagree. She thinks this whole town is full of one type of person.
There's so many of one house. Okay, so
we'll soon fix that. We'll wipe it out.
So listen. We have our usual listeners listening that may not know From, but for listeners or people who are From fans that are just checking us out, if you heard our intro, you know what we do here. We sort characters into 4 houses, and it's basically just personality analysis with silly millennial names on top of it. And each of these characters greatly represents the houses that we've put them in. You shall see as we discuss. The 3 main characters that we're going to be discussing are Boyd, Jade, and Donna. We just love them. We just love them, and we just had to talk about them. But I guarantee we will probably mingle in and throw in the houses of other characters as we go. 'Cause it's difficult to talk about some of these characters without others being mentioned as well, because it's such a, it's an ensemble cast. Obviously, everyone means something to everyone, and I'm gonna have so much fun discussing this. Okay. Anything else?
We can't see you. Or is that intentional? Okay.
I didn't think it was important, but it's okay.
Wow.
It's important to us. We just love seeing your beautiful face. He turned off his Zoom camera. How dare he?
I know. How am I supposed to read facial expressions?
So true.
Like I'm presenting to an empty room. No, I was pretty surprised when the show started with the Matthews family, and Rachel was like, I don't want to talk about any of them. But yeah, two of these actors I knew already. One did about 5 episodes on the Vampire Diaries, and one did 3.5 seasons on Once Upon a Time. So welcome back, Pinocchio, and
it's really bad that
crazy
we
priest
watched
man
the show like 9 times and we didn't recognize Pinocchio.
I can't believe you guys didn't recognize Pinocchio.
Because the actor who plays Jim reminds me of Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that's all I could see was Paul Rudd.
Oh, I started watching immediately, and I was like, oh my God.
So this is not to say that I don't enjoy the Matthews family. I ended up loving the Matthews family. But when we first are dropped there, I'm like extremely compelled by the people who are all like, Boyd and Donna specifically grabbed me immediately. Immediately, I wanted to follow the both of them, which you do. They run. The other thing we didn't mention about the town is that it's divided into 2 parts. There's Colony
Not
House,
in a fighting way, just in a which way do you want to survive way.
Right. So think about this. If you're dropped in this town the way that Lauren has described it to you, as horrifyingly as it's been described, would you rather live in a house called Colony House that is filled with people so you have protection in numbers, or not?
Unless one of the dumbasses opens the door.
Sure.
Gets drunk, gets high, has a mental break. Sure. There's no therapy in this town. I've suggested a therapy program several times.
It needs one. But that's more of a more celebratory house. I don't want to call it a party house because it's not necessarily that. But you can smoke.
It's like a we could die any day house, basically.
Right. And if you choose to live in the town, so like if you have kids and you get there with your family, you may want a house in town that you live in privately. Unless Colony House is busted into.
And there's a sheriff in charge of the town. His name is Boyd. And if you break the rules, they put you in a box in the middle of the town and they don't give you a talisman. Although to be fair, that had never been done before we started watching the show. The show opens with that having to happen to someone, essentially.
And the only way they put you in there is if your actions lead to the death of another townsperson.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have,
which is crazy that Randall hasn't been in there yet, but whatever.
Yeah, but I guess he hasn't gotten anyone killed, has he?
He's tried very hard. Just because he's failing. I don't know why they wouldn't put him in.
It's because he's whiny. He's just bitches a lot.
He did tie Donna to a tree.
I was saying just because he's bad at getting people killed doesn't mean that he shouldn't be put in the box.
He was then possessed and chained to the bed and being tortured. So
the creature should have just let him run wild. He was doing more damage than they were doing.
Can I tell you when Donna put him on the bus and was like, "This is your new home." First of all, that door didn't close all the way, so I'm calling bullshit when she slammed. I was like, "That door's not closed. It doesn't close all the way." When he was pounding on the glass, telling them to come back because they were all scared losers, I was like, you're going to break the glass. Extremely. Oh man.
At one point in the trailer, though, he's outside with them and they are talking to him, and Boyd is outside with them, and Jade, Victor pushes Jade out of the way at one point. I've rewatched this trailer several times.
I see. So maybe they might be following my plan and asking them what's happening.
Maybe. Yeah, Lauren desperately wants them to talk to the monsters more, to attempt to. I don't think it'll help.
They don't talk to him at all.
Because why? They just smile creepily
They're
at
the
you.
biggest fucking clue there. And they don't go, hey, what's happening?
Are they? Or is
they'd
Victor...
probably tell you up front what the deal is.
Yeah,
they
seriously.
Can't
Maybe they would.
I feel like they would.
Maybe.
I feel like it would be more fun for them if people like knew what was happening. If they were like,
well, you're gonna get your wish. They're gonna be talking to them more. Like they're like taunting Boyd, and they're like, "Haha, said we couldn't break you." Like, ooh, gross, creepy.
You can't save them all, Jim. No, Jim. Boyd.
Your wife shouldn't be digging that old, Jim.
I have been saying that so many times.
Wait, there are a few catchphrases that we say repeatedly. What the fuck is a cromanockle is a big one.
Oh,
and we just do like randomly throw out teacup. Can you tell we like Jade a lot? We like Jade a lot.
Yes, I can.
But the three characters we're going to discuss today are extremely compelling, all very different, and spoiler alert, are not, to me, like they were never in the same houses, right? Like we have three separate houses, so it'll be a fun discussion because they're three very, very different people. I think we should start with Boyd. I love Boyd.
Yeah, we can start with Boyd.
He's fantastic.
It's so interesting too because I don't think any of these three are my favorite. Like I really like all of them.
Yeah, it's hard to choose.
Who's your favorite?
I love now. I read the summaries before I watched each episode, so I wouldn't be scared. So I thought it was pronounced Miss Liu, and now they're saying it, and it's Liao, I think, or Kenny's mom. Is it Mrs. Liao? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. They don't say it all. I don't think it's Liu. Is it? Are you sure? I always thought there was two. I think they say two syllables, and that's what threw me off. But okay, I love her. I really like Fatima.
She's great,
and I like I like Alice too.
Anyone who says your favorite is Sarah, you're wrong.
Oh, no, Sarah's not my favorite.
Sarah should be no one's favorite.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is what I really, really like. It doesn't matter if they're not in your top 5 or even in your top 10, right? They're still compelling, and you want to follow them and figure out like what's the deal with you. So
she's going through a journey for sure.
Well, I don't think that place wants Sarah dead, so that's interesting. Like
it is really interesting.
She's a key player.
Yeah.
She really is. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't get rid of her. Like, Kenny. I mean, Kenny had every right to be angry, but I am glad that she survived her round of Russian roulette that she's playing.
I actually genuinely felt bad when he was like smashing her shit. I was like, oh, she's so pathetic. Like, just let her have her little ornament. Like that's really
she killed his dad.
I know.
It's hard though because she
still
looks so
felt
sad.
She killed her brother. Like I feel like she kind of like got that back.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about that.
Well, yeah, I know, but
cosmic revenge.
It's not his revenge. I mean,
Kenny's revenge.
He needs his revenge.
They both lost people. It's also here's the thing with her, like his dad too. Like having dementia, I don't know how. Like I can't believe he lasted as long. Like and
he would have. Like they were keeping that really well under.
Yeah. I mean,
they were doing good.
That nurse only had to fall asleep once, or like he only had to have one.
They had 96 days, no accidents, or something like that.
Yeah, but how far into that did they break him to the clinic? Because the thing that got him to the clinic wasn't an accident; it was an almost accident. Like Kenny was able to grab him before he opened the door.
Yeah,
it all was all dominoes once the Matthews family showed up.
But that was the point. They got pulled in because it was 96 days or whatever without incident. So now the town craves chaos.
Yeah.
So whatever.
That's why 2 cars.
Was it the Matthews
2 cars,
or was it Jade?
2 cars was the chaos.
What does it mean that 2 cars came together? What does it mean that it's a kid? There's a kid that came in right after the little girl was killed in the first episode, which is a insane intro, by the way, from people. An insane intro. I mean, compelling. It grabbed us. It kept us. But wow. But
I just thought that little girl was really stupid. It's really fucking stupid. It's like, honey, I'm your grandma. I'm your grandma. You don't look a thing like my grandma. Will you let me in anyway?
We see the little boy in season 3. He opens the door for the grandma too. So I don't know.
Ethan
Maybe
does.
All the kids are just stupid.
Yeah, that's oh my god, that pissed me off in watching the trailer.
We don't know why. Let's not judge.
I know. We don't know why.
We need to get rid of the children outright. Any children that come,
the town craves a child, just a singular child.
Not the 7 that seem to have been sacrificed. Like, what is going on? We need answers, people. But so let's start with Boyd. Boyd, you're introduced to him by him bitch slapping Frank. It's great. It's like one of my favorite things ever. I told you to nail the fucking window shut, Frank. What the fuck? Immediately, he had my attention from that moment. I was like, yes, hit him again and again and again. But Boyd just wanted a boat. Okay? He just wanted his wife and his son, and he just wanted a boat. That's it. He was retired, right? Like, it was time for him to relax. And he gets pulled into this shit show. It's so deeply unfair. So
Mr.
yeah,
Fish and Loaves.
Mr. Fish and Loaves with Iron Abby. Oh, that ended so sadly for Abby. But let's keep it on Boyd. All right. Boyd bitch slaps Frank and immediately starts threatening him with the box, and then is like, I don't know if I want to put him in the box. The box is kind of mean, guys. But
kind of barbaric.
Kind of barbaric. But Father Khatri, who I believe here's the first the first drop here. We're doing the first sword. Father Khatri's a Ravenclaw, and he immediately is like, they deserve punishment. They must be put in the box.
That's not exactly how he framed it.
Not exactly.
No, it's not.
It's like, I did a bad thing in the real world, so I deserve to be here.
It was more that he was like, if you set the terms of the punishment and then somebody follows the terms to say that the punishment needs to be fulfilled, and then you don't do it, the whole facade is going to fall apart, because everybody's going to know that you're not in charge and that you don't have things under control and that there's no consequences to their actions. So if you say this is the consequence, then it has to be the consequence, or there's no law and order here. And Boyd is like, yeah, but we just make him disappear forever? Like, do we really actually? And the country's like, they need to see the dead body on the lawn.
Ravenclaw.
Or nobody will be satisfied.
So Boyd is very much like, he hits the ground running. He gets there. He immediately starts asking questions like, you guys just straight up live in these holes. We need to be gathering resources. We need to be figuring this out. Like, we need to be going into the forest and checking for things. Immediately, he's the one who finds the talismans. And it's at the detriment of his wife. Unfortunately, he wasn't paying attention to the signs of her emotional distress. But I mean, he's also under a lot of psychological duress. But he sort of is acting as like the town savior. And now he sort of has that savior complex. Like, I'm going to get us out of here. I still have hope, constantly, like the ever hopeful lead, even though you can see him. He's screaming at like God and at the entity. He's like, you're not going to break me. Fuck you all. But there are cracks, because like, who could survive here without cracks? But George and I started out thinking that he could have potentially been a Ravenclaw, which Lauren and George will argue about this. But the reason that we did was because, for me specifically, was because the last time I saw a leader of a group in an apocalypse, it was Rick Grimes. And Rick Grimes starts out as a Ravenclaw with his system being saving people. It's all about people. And then when the apocalypse breaks him, he has a system change and he becomes a dictator and he becomes wild. And I haven't seen Boyd do that. But it did remind me of that in the beginning. And I was like, maybe it's another Ravenclaw in an apocalyptic system. And he's very strategic. He's from the military. He comes in, he finds things, pulls resources. Like, I was of the mind that he could definitely be there. Right? George, did you have any other thing? I mean, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah, the military thing really, I mean, it all seemed to fit, I was ready to fight about it. But the second you told me that he reminded me that he slaps the guy in the first scene of the movie, like of the show. It's just very, he is very emotional.
Very
looking
emotional.
Back at it.
Did any of my arguments make it through, George?
Yeah, they were all good. I just didn't see it coming because I was so set on him being a logic house.
I was just so baffled by that.
He is. I can't even put it to words. He's the harder one for me.
No, he follows a logic. He does, but people in emotion houses do follow a logic of their own. It's not like you're just purely all fire all the time.
But that's, I think that's the thing too that you can look at with him. It's not like a methodical logic, and it's not a logic driven by thought process. I think it's a logic driven by emotion. I told Rachel that I told you this too, that Gryffindor's like, you said something like he's a button pusher, which is something we do attribute to Ravenclaws. like, oh, if I do this, what happens? And I couldn't understand why you thought that, because all I was seeing from Boyd is that he was smashing his head against a brick wall until the brick wall gave up. Like,
Yeah.
it was entirely a gut thing. Like, he wasn't following, like, he wasn't going around, a slight spoiler, but we're going to get into it more. He wasn't going around like Jade and going like, okay, I did this and this didn't work, but it did produce this. So now I have to try this. And this produced this, which means I need to follow this thread. Boyd is like, I did this. Oh, it didn't work. Leave. Completely forgot why it didn't work or what happened or what I learned from it. Try something else. Oh, it didn't work. Leave. Something
He's trying
worked.
everything in a different way.
Like he's trying. Yeah, no, and he's not like retaining the lessons that he learns. He's like, if I try it a different way, maybe it'll happen. I told Rachel it was like, you know, those rats, and you push a button and then they either get like cheese or electrocuted. And a Ravenclaw will like push the button, get electrocuted, and be like, oh, I got electrocuted. There's another way to get the cheese, and like go through the maze or whatever. Boyd is there like pushing the button until the electricity just dies. And then he's like, I got cheese. Like, it's not.
He needs a lot of things spelled out for him, you know, especially when it came to Kenny. He's really bad at reading his son. So all that robotic behavior. That's why
he thought,
got me really on the Ravenclaw train.
I do follow you there, but he is very psychologically damaged, so it's fair.
I was going to say, I didn't see that as robotic. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, he didn't understand that Kenny saw him.
His son's getting married, and he's just like, I need a fire to solve my problem.
And Donna's laughing at him. Like,
I mean, I think, so I understand the thing with Kenny, but the thought I was having, I was literally the vacuuming the other day thinking this and was a little sad about it. Like, who was it, Christy, who had to tell him that Kenny like needed a dad at that moment, and that's what Boyd had to be for him. Yeah. And then he was like, okay, I'll do that or whatever. I think that it's not that he didn't realize, like, he couldn't have figured that out on his own. I'm not sure that Boyd sees Kenny as a son. That's why he was totally baffled by this. He was like, I have a son that I'm very concerned about. and I just need you to be like,
son is there. And
he's like, and I just need you to be like a deputy. Like, that's what I need from you in this moment. Like, you also need to lead the town. I don't have time to coddle you or like be a father figure to you necessarily. I think that Boyd, this was my big thing too. Like, you can see with Frank and how he screams at him and shoves his face into like the open chest cavities of his daughter and wife, and is like, this is your fault. This is what you did to them. You can really tell that that's huge projection on Boyd's part, because Boyd, like Rachel alluded to, was so concerned with the town and helping the town that he ignored his wife's emotional distress to the point where she convinced herself that everything was a dream and that if she shot everybody in the head, then they would get to go home, and ended up pointing a gun at their son, to which Boyd had to immediately shoot her and kill her. So, understandably, but you can tell that Boyd is kind of like transferred the responsibility of failing for his family onto the entire town. So it was really more of a, Frank got his children killed, but I'm responsible for Frank. And I knew that Frank was a mess and was not doing what he was supposed to be doing. And this still happened. So ultimately, this is entirely on me. And everybody who dies in this town is my responsibility. And it's because I didn't do something correct because I'm supposed to get everybody home. Like, that's the huge Gryffindor thing for me.
And it's his approach to Ellis as well, because he's trying to be respectful and mindful of the fact that, like, Ellis is in a lot of distress here. He's found happiness with Fatima. He's like good there. And he's angry at me, and he has every right to be, because I'm responsible for what happened to Abby. Again, I'm responsible for it. And then you see again the responsibility thing with Sarah. And this is like what Lauren's alluding to with Gryffindors. You're responsible for everything, for everyone around you. The people that you love are your responsibilities. He takes Sarah, who the entire town has turned on and hates, and he's like, I'll speak for her. Like, I'll be responsible for her. I literally will take her into the forest. I have to, like, she will be useful. And he doesn't want to kill her. He doesn't want to kill anybody. Mm-mm. He really doesn't want to.
He didn't want to kill Frank. He told Frank to run away. It was Frank who ultimately went into the box. And I think you can see it too when he goes and like sits in the box and puts himself in the shoes of Frank. And that's like ultimately why he can't do it, because he really thinks of what it must be like to be in there. Like, I can't see Rick Grimes like, well, get in the box.
Rick Grimes should have fed him to a zombie. Like,
you did it. Get in the box. I also I don't know The
yeah.
Walking Dead that well, but I also feel that even with his system being survivorship, if somebody in like his little compound dies, Rick is like, well, that's the name of the game. Let's keep going. Like, we're still alive. Like, let's go.
No, Boyd, I feel like he feels every death. They have a burial, they have a funeral for every single one. They take it very seriously. They still try to have their own, like, they try to stay human. And a lot of that is Boyd. Boyd got there and started like putting these rules up and making these laws in what was a lawless land. And as much as Gryffindors like to break the rules and stuff and push buttons and push boundaries, in a situation like this where you have leadership sort of thrusted upon you because nobody else has taken up the mantle, immediately you're like, okay, I got to figure this out because no one else has. And
it's ultimately like Gryffindors do what they think is right too. And being somebody from a military background, it's obvious that he would come in and be like, the only way that we can all get home is if we like all follow the rules and we all are doing our part. And like, this is what we all have to do. Like, and we all need to be civilized because, you know, if you fall apart, you fall apart. He's the one who gave, well, no, I guess Ellis is what initially brought up that like everybody has a piece of themselves that they're able to hang on to. And if that piece slips, that's when they're gone or whatever. But he's the one who is like ultimately helping Ellis with like, you have to be that piece for Fatima or like whatever.
Yeah. No, very true. And he's very supportive of Fatima and he doesn't get in the way of that relationship at all. He doesn't try to like, he's just like very kind and nice to her when he meets her. Like she's good for his son, so he immediately loves her. And I feel like that's kind of a Gryffindor thing. Like,
I also don't think he cares because he has other shit to deal with.
No, but I think
he cares about
his son happy.
Oh, about the wedding. I see. No,
I mean, or Fatima at all. Like, if his son's happy, good, because I fucked him up. You know, like that.
No, but I do think he likes her.
No. I think he likes her.
Let him have his happy moment.
I think. I also see what you're saying in the sense that he like doesn't. Like the wedding is a little meaningless to him just because he's like, like, you know, like what's like, if you're together, you're together. Like, you know, like this is not like our Earth or whatever. I also was interested in his reaction to the baby because I think he was happy. And I also think he was very scared, which Rachel and I talked, like I would not be having a baby in that place.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. She's very brave and losing teeth in the trailer. My God.
Is she? Gonna be bad. Oh my God.
It's going to be bad.
That baby's a double baby. The entity put it in her. I don't know what to tell you, but I can tell you that. Because she said it was medically impossible for her to get pregnant.
The old lady did it. The old lady that came on the bus that was dancing in the rain. It's her fault.
Oh my God.
Let me just say right now that she's evil.
Oh my God. She has cancer. She has cancer.
Yeah, she miraculously had these drugs
she
that came.
Cancer.
She's just in everybody's business. I don't believe
What's the
her.
number, the magical number that we see everywhere?
Oh, we have to look up the theory again. I have to tell
42. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
There's so much, man. There's so much.
It's 47, isn't it? That was the number on the radio.
47.
Yeah, with the music box.
Yeah, and the numbers on Tabitha's door at the end add up to 47. And yeah, she has 4 something and 7 grandchildren. It's it keeps repeating. But yeah, so with Boyd, he also begrudgingly accepts like Donna's whole thing where she's like, I'm going and doing college. Because when they get there, they're in hidey holes. There is no colony house. There's no divisions. There's no talismans. There's no point. But at some point, it's off camera. We don't see it. They have to have this discussion where Donna's like, listen, I'm going to take people that are like me and like-minded like me, want to live like me to colony house. And you don't have jurisdiction up there. You have jurisdiction over the town. And so then he walks around with his little bell at night. He's like, get the fuck inside. He doesn't go do that at colony house. But he immediately respects it. And a big Gryffindor thing, like, you know, we don't like to take control away from people. If that's really genuinely how you want to live, respect, go live that way. Don't hurt anybody else. So his relationship with Donna is very, like, you can view it very heavily through Gryffindor lens. And it's very interesting when we get into her house, how they interact with each other. Because they don't start off besties. They don't. They start off in the diner and she's very scared and she's telling him what's going on. And that's when they start talking about pooling resources. But then when like the Matthews family gets there, she's like taking little verbal digs at him. And she's like, girl made her choice. Not your problem. She already said what she wanted. Like he's trying to mitigate all this damage and middleman everything until you push him to the point of having to bitch slap you, which again, doesn't he hit Jade too? right?
Does
Like
Boyd
Jade
hit
is
Jade?
like, yeah, he's like, it's all a simulation, and he like smacks him. Yeah, and
Someone
Jade's like,
hits
I'm
him.
going to sue you. I'm
Oh,
gonna fucking
that's
sue
yeah,
you.
yeah. He does.
Yeah.
He does when he drags him
Yeah.
to Kenny to show him the body. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's.
so.
Well, I guess we can talk about this when we talk about Donna. I think it's so interesting that even though Boyd is like the leader of the town, Donna is like the official break the news of what's happening person. You know,
For
like even
when
she's the one who tells everybody like this is what's going on. There are monsters
if
here.
they end up at Colony House, yeah, which the Matthews girls did.
She was telling people before they chose the place. Like she tells them before they do the choosing ceremony.
Well, they have to share that
She's one of the most
responsibility.
transparent characters because like everyone else has their secrets, and she's actually like gives a shit about her community, gives a shit about her people.
Oh, you think she's transparent?
She's an
People
open
think
book.
she's a fucking mole. People think she's like the leader of all the
I don't think
monsters.
there's anything she won't tell someone. She'll tell someone how she felt as her sister had her face eaten. She'll tell you everything that's ever happened to her open. Like what is she keeping from anyone?
Yeah, no, it's true. And I like how their relationship develops. I really like where it comes to a point where they realize like we really only have each other here to like rely on.
Yeah, there's a point I pointed it out to you, Rachel, where like Boyd's been keeping Sarah a secret, and then a couple of people know about her, and he's like, well, now that all you bitches know, I better go tell Donna before she hears from everybody else. Like she's the only one I goddamn respect around here.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, no, he does. He values her leadership. He respects her. And that's another, I'm sure it's a relief to have some responsibility off his shoulders with Colony House. Although I'm sure he's also up at night every night, like terrified about it because Ellis is there. And he feels responsible for all the people, even though he's technically not. He's huge on the responsibility for everything and everyone at all times. And that's why when his gut leads him into the forest, he follows it. He goes like, if he didn't feel like he was so lost and had to take Sarah, he probably wouldn't have involved her. He wouldn't involve anybody else. He's lone wolfing this shit. He doesn't want to get anybody hurt ever. But he is like Big Daddy, okay? When something goes down, they call Boyd. They're like, oh my God, this girl is impaled on a tree. Like, what do we do? I don't know, guys. Maybe you should put her out of her misery. No, call Boyd. We have to figure out what to do. Boyd has to tell us what to do. So it's every day. It's more gets added to his plate, and he's just taking it on and taking it on. He looks so beaten down in that trailer, but he's still
it's not fair because they go to him and they say, you need to solve all this shit, but at the same time, don't leave us. Don't go into the woods.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do? How are you going to fix this? How are you going to get us home? Because he and Jade are the only two actively trying to get out. Everyone else is like, well, I guess this is it. This is home now.
I guess Jim is trying now.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Jim too.
What a mess that became.
Yep.
But yeah, no, they really are the two they're trying the most. But if we didn't officially say it, we have them in Gryffindor. So we've moved off the Ravenclaw train, which is like it makes sense to me why George likes him so much because George likes Gryffindors.
You know what?
So
you know what I keep thinking of with Jim? I keep thinking of that meme that's like, I didn't think the Panthers would eat my face, says woman who voted for the Panthers that eat everybody's face party. Like that's what he thinks.
Yeah, him with Randall.
Jim?
Yeah. Come on, man. They didn't he didn't censor himself at all. He was being such a dick the entire time, even to Jade. To Jim. And Jim was just like, why are you like this? Anyway, let's keep working together. Like, Jim, what are we doing, man? And then
Donna calls him like a powder keg at some point or something.
She calls Randall that.
Tell me you're not working with this guy.
And he's like, I'm not.
I didn't tell him anything. And then he goes to him and is like, everything is a simulation and everybody is in on it. And if you want to get home, you better give me that drone.
But Boyd, like immediately, so like Donna sort of escalated the situation, right? She blows the tire out on the bus and everyone gets into a frenzy and panic. When Boyd finally gets there, he just looks at Randall and he's like, no fucking guns. You want to live out in the woods? Go live out in the woods, bitch. I don't care. Everyone else is trying to save Randall for some reason and make him see reason. And Boyd's like, I don't give a shit. You're not bringing a gun in. Go live out there. Good luck. I don't care. Which is also like, that was my response to Randall the entire time. I was like, just let him do whatever he wants. Who cares? Let him go. Why are we running after these people? Like,
well, because if he gets somebody killed, that's a problem.
Randall specifically.
Oh, Fatima was pissing me off with those like 5 people that ran off, and she was like screaming at them to get inside. And there's literally like a monster 2 feet from her. And Ellis she was stressing that man out. He was like, you're not going to be doing anything for these people. Like, get inside. What are you doing?
I understand the compulsion, but girl. I don't. I mean, she screamed at them. She tried to talk to them, Lauren. They were like,
No, she did. There was a point that I would have given up. I would not. Yeah. Well, okay. No, she didn't try to talk. I would have asked, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do with them? Why do you want to kill them? Where are we? What is the point of this?
She'd feel better if she came outside.
Why are you so bored? Why are you so bored? Why do you want me outside? What are you going to do with me?
Oof. Also, pretty heavily Gryffindor. Boyd is his response to Martin. So that's the old guy that's chained up that he finds that this rope is inexplicably thrown down the well to him, even though Martin is tied up. His hands are chained. It couldn't have been him. Okay. But they're both military background. And he immediately is like, nobody's getting left behind.
Martin got the ballerina to do it.
The man's crawling with worms. Like he's begging you to get out of here. And he's like, I will not leave. I don't care.
He was begging him to kill him. And Boyd was like, no, I'm going to free you and then take you out of here.
Yeah. And then he gets so mad. Sarah's like, it wants you to lose hope or whatever it was. Sarah's like, it's laughing at you. You see the rage in Boyd's face. He's like, are you fucking laughing at me now? You think this is a joke? Yeah, he's very, very, very Gryffindor. I can't think of any other specific points. It's really his overall personality, his approach, his leadership skills. Very heavy on the main character, main Gryffindor energy. Honestly, I the second Lauren said it, I was like, well, he could only be one of two houses. And I was like, yeah.
That's the other thing too. I was 3 episodes in and sorted everybody, and Rachel's like, "You're gonna want to watch the whole show." And I was like, "Oh, there's like some big information. There's some big thing happening." We got to the end, and I was like, "I didn't budge off of any of those for any of them."
No, I would say that the one we discussed most was Donna.
Yeah,
but we put two potential.
Well, you and I,
like, two potential houses, and ultimately she falls on one side, as everyone does. But I think we should talk about Donna next because it's Boyd's bestie, and it leads right into it.
Right.
So
I don't know what George thinks about Donna. I've talked to you.
George, how do you feel about Donna?
Originally, I had said Gryffindor, just because, she's very, very emotional. She gets very angry, very riled up very quickly. But, you guys make good points every time you bring shit up. So I don't know anymore. You have me questioning reality.
Yes, so she very easily, if you wanted to put her in Gryffindor, like, there's no question that there are Gryffindor traits, right? Like the shooting of the tire was a big one. It was very emotionally reactive.
But I had a point for that.
I'm just saying the emotional reactions, you could easily like lift her out of that and be like, that's all Gryffindor shit. But when you dive deeper into Donna, and you dive deeper into Colony House and what the town represents to her, like what the people of Colony House represent to her and how she feels about the town, she swings more towards the logic side. And it's interesting because you have a Gryffindor in Boyd who comes off somewhat logical, right? Like, and military background, and you like want to place him in a logic house, but ultimately he falls emotion. Donna's the opposite. Donna's very emotional, but her thought process and everything that motivates her is very logical. So
you know what it probably is? It's probably that they're both boomers. I can't read boomers.
I mean, it might be that too. It might be that also that there's no fucking therapy in this town. As I continue to advocate for. I don't know if Rachel told you my idea, George, but I think that there should be mandatory therapy. That guy Tom, before he died, was a psychology professor. I think he should have been doing therapy. I think everybody in the town should have had mandatory 2 days a week therapy, and if you didn't show up for
this,
if you didn't go to a
Father
session,
Cottry wasn't mandating
if you didn't go to a session,
sessions.
You're going into the fucking box. Because otherwise, this would have.
You go to hell if you don't come here.
Oh my god!
They would have cut so many things. They would have cut all these fucking mental breaks.
Footage of them in a room.
Yeah, they're all sitting together in the.
Are they having like a town meeting or whatever?
All convening? Let's go.
Yeah,
town meetings.
This is like I felt. So at first I was like, I cannot move on Boyd, but you might be able to move me on Donna. But the more I talked to Rachel about Donna, I was like, the more I watched the show, I would love to think that I would go to this town and that I would, before I started thinking about Donna, I was just telling Rachel like straight up my feelings about being in this town. I was like, if I got to this town, like, I don't care why things are happening like Jade and Jim do. I don't need to understand, like, I don't need to figure it out. I just want to know how to get home and go home. And like, if you don't have anything useful to say, like being in there would give me such a short emotional and a short energy fuse. Like I would not have the time, I would not have the bandwidth for any of it. I'm just here trying to make the best of this until I can go home, and I will like if you think there's an actual viable way that we might get to go home, like the radio tower, I will help with it. But like also don't fuck this all up. If it's not going to get us home, like don't get people's hopes up, don't get people all riled up and like this is all going to get fucked up, and then I'm going to have to expand more energy trying to help get everything back into place so people don't fucking bother me. And the more I was watching Donna, I was like, this is what has happened to her, I'm pretty sure. And she comes in too off the trauma of she arrived in town with her sister and nobody was there to warn. This was again before talismans, before Boyd, before there were places to hide. She arrived in the town with her sister. One of those things appeared in the road. Her sister got out and shot at it and was fucking had her face eaten off. Like that's how Donna was introduced to this world, and she had to run off and hide. So I think she came in.
Would have gotten themselves killed in that situation, by the way.
Yeah, I think she went in with a very like a person who naturally has a short, bandwidth for this sort of emotional capacity that you should like. Gryffindors have a lot of emotional capacity. I think Slytherins have much less emotional capacity. So a person with already a smaller amount went in and received that sort of trauma and was like, I'm just trying to do what I can do, and on top of that, she's put in charge of this house, or like puts herself in charge of this house because she does care about the people and like wants them to like have a good life while they're there. And people aren't fucking listening. Like it's so easy to not die if you all just do what I say. And for some reason, people are still fucking dying. And that's fucking ridiculous. That should not be happening. So that was the point where I reached with the bus, where none of these assholes on the bus are like listening to her. And Rachel was like, that was such an emotional response. Like she shot out a tire and like everybody like scattered and went crazy. And I was like, listen, I would expect like way more I would expect so much screaming and like shooting in the air like Kenny did. And like, like all of that shit. She yelled at them once. She said, listen to me or you're going to die. The bus driver said, everybody on the bus. She like, not another word, walked to her car, pulled out a shotgun, walked up to the bus and shot the tire out and then just stared at everybody. Like that was like, I know
and she's low-key like, I needed Boyd here. Like Boyd would have been able to talk to these people.
Like, I'm so used to the Gryffindors being the wild cards and the underdogs. I think if she's not a Gryffindor, she can't be a Hufflepuff because typically, I can spot the Hufflepuffs. I don't understand them in any way. So that one, I crossed out Hufflepuff. Ravenclaw, if she was a Ravenclaw, the way she runs the house would be way different. It would be way more chaotic or way more aggressive, or just, things are getting past her.
People tied to their beds at night.
Would happen with her. Yeah. And so if we're leaning toward a Slytherin, then the reason why I guess she's showing attributes of other things is because she's a defeated Slytherin. She's just losing on every front.
I think she's on a very,
It's a downward spiral.
Yeah.
If you see her in the trailer, she's having a full mental breakdown. She's weeping, sobbing. Winning. Like she never gets a win.
She gets one win, and it's when she finds out about the baby. And even that is going to be like a problem.
I think this is another reason I get the Slytherin thing with her, because as much as she loves Colony House and the people in there, they're not her circle. So Slytherins have a circle. Her circle really is Alice and Fatima. And she really favors them over and Boyd. She favors them over everyone. Like those people are running off into the woods and she's like,
do you wonder if there's like a bit of a romantic
between her
element? Yeah. Like platonically romantic, not sexual, because I can almost see her like taking on Ellis as like she feels like he's almost
like a son.
Yeah.
I can see them like raising them as parents.
She's maternal. But she's maternal to everyone in the
No. She
house.
Brings Ellis breakfast in bed. She like she gave them their own room. Like they have a big ass room up top, like up high, and
his art studio.
As far as secrets go,
as
far as secrets go, she gives Victor peaches, but even what's her name? Fatima knows about it. She doesn't keep anything from them.
Yeah, and I do think that a Gryffindor is probably the only house that could break through to Victor or would even bother trying. And I do think Tabitha's a Gryffindor. And so when you see her make breakthroughs with him, that made complete sense to me. But I don't see Donna like wasting her time. She doesn't. She's like, this is
more. She's like, take your peaches and go.
She doesn't emotionally connect with him. She's just like, whatever you need to like be okay. Like take your like whatever. I don't. Right. I agree too. Like defeated or Slytherin is a pretty good way to put. I really think she's moved the goalposts to such a short field, and she can't even do that it's just like, so like, I'm sure she started at like end goal, I want to get home, and it's just been, then she was like, I just want to keep everybody in Colony House alive. I think she's like moved it to like, I just want to get through a day with no one dying, and that's like not happening. And she's like, if people listen,
she put into it, and it was working great.
The
and
bar
she
keeps
was
getting
like,
lower.
Yeah, she was like, look what we built here, look what we had here. And you're giving people false hope when we have a system that works. You're fucking up my system. It's her thing. Colony House is hers. And you know how Slytherins are about things that are mine.
We've lost everything. You want to destroy the house? Let's destroy the fucking house.
Yeah, no, seriously. She's like, I don't even fucking want to. She's like, nobody's using it. Like, I don't, whatever. I would be exactly like that. Fucking spiteful.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see you being like that. That's great. The way you just delivered that, I could see you doing that. Oh, shit. Yeah. The anger and the spite. Yeah, of course. And she's not really mad at them. It's the same thing like how Boyd's projecting his shit onto other people. Donna's projecting her shit onto other people too. Like, she couldn't or wouldn't, or like she was too scared to save her sister. And I'm sure that is something that lives in the back of her mind forever. And so when somebody like the guy in
I almost feel like it was like they didn't understand. Like, she didn't know that was going to be a thing that happened. And then it happened. And she was like, what do I do now?
Yeah. And so she survived the first year. I think she was there a year without Boyd. Just hiding. That's it. She's just hiding. And she gets with the program very quickly and takes on the other leadership role, right? Because like we said, the town's it's divided, Fromville. And Colony House is hers. That's it. It's her territory. She planted the flag there and she's in charge. And everyone goes to her for everything. And even when they have to ration the food, like in season 2, and the food's starting to run out, Donna's in charge of being like, of telling Alice and Fatima, like, don't tell them shit. We're figuring it out. I'm going to take it to the diner.
Yeah. She gets all the weapons locked up.
Yeah. She's just in charge. And her leadership's very different from Boyd's. Like, so they can't be in the same house because they're playing the same role extremely differently. And they rely on each other. So Gryffindors and Slytherins are typically besties. Like, it's just, we've talked about this a million times on the show. Like, it's the duo, right? So you can see how it's funny because usually a Gryffindor is like a moral compass for a Slytherin. I think it might be equal here. I think they're both compasses for each other.
Yeah.
They really need each other.
Like, they keep each other grounded in the ways that, like, it may not necessarily be moral compass, but like they fill in the parts that the other person's missing.
Right. Whereas like a Ravenclaw doesn't need one. They're going to be out there figuring it out on their own. Like, they don't need to check in and discuss. And a Hufflepuff needs much more than what either Boyd or Donna need. So you can see, like, they fall just right in the middle of the Slytherin Gryffindor bestie thing. But it's in this, like, very horrifying setting. And nobody else is measuring up to them, truly. Like, they know they can only really go to each other. And, like, if Boyd fucks off, Donna, she starts off by I think Donna was annoyed at first. But she comes around to being like, you gotta go. Like, we're running out of food. I understand. You need to figure this out. And, it says something, too, that Boyd trusts her with Alice. Like, he doesn't put up a big fight. Like, he's like, they're good there. Donna's got it under control. Or even when Julie goes and he has to calm down the Matthews family, he's like, Donna's got it. It's all right. Because she does. Because she runs that shit with a firm hand. So when that guy opens up the nails for his monster girlfriend and lets her in and it's a massacre, like, she didn't expect it because she does run a tight ship. And she said even that night, look out for each other. Keep an eye on one another. Don't let anyone be alone. Like, that's clearly always a rule.
Nobody listened.
Well, just that one guy didn't listen.
Yeah, also, like, how alone fucking was he?
No one was keeping an eye on him.
He spent the first whole episode talking drunk to Ellis. Like, shut up, you were alone. Kenny, I don't know. He spends the whole first episode, like, pouring all his problems all over whoever it is.
Oh, Kenny? Yeah. No, but we were talking about Kevin. Sorry, Kevin is the guy that lets the monster girl in.
No. Kevin in that first episode is like getting drunk with like Alice and Kenny in Colony House and is like having hearts to hearts with them all night.
Kenny, I remember Katri and Kenny having a deep heart to heart.
No, Kevin.
Interesting.
Kevin is in Colony House, like getting drunk with some of the guys. Like,
interesting.
Which is why I was like, bullshit.
Oh, so he was complaining about being lonely, and so that's the foreshadowing up to him letting in the monster girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. It's like, I left her flowers. I left you flowers. I love them.
I think
wasn't
the thing that made him like leave the room is when Fatima and Ellis kissed. And he was like,
yeah, something like that.
like
Why didn't
laughed.
you know what? Why don't you go outside then, bitch? Why did you have to open the door and let her in? Like, you're so convinced she loves you, like she can keep you safe. Go outside, boy.
Because the other ones would have hurt him. That's why he said they couldn't come in.
Ugh.
He could have put a talisman at the bathroom door, apparently.
George, you know
'Cause
what?
that's how it
You know
works.
why the whole thing is bullshit? Because he closed the door, which by the rules of the fucking foyer means that the rest of the house was protected.
I think once they're in, the
Mm.
magic is broken. I think once
Then
even one is in.
Then the foyer wouldn't have
I think-
worked.
Oh, I don't have any problem with the
yeah,
foyer.
the way I imagine it, if the talismans work at all, it's the enclosure is the bubble you imagine when you put up the talisman. So if the whole house is the bubble, then the door doesn't mean shit. You're in the bubble. When Fatima put it up in that little foyer, that was her bubble. So the second they get in there, that's broken. You know, Boyd walks into that little bush thing where he found the talismans. He that one is enclosed, not even fully enclosed. It's just vines, you know, but it's he sees it as a protection,
Then
so it is a protection.
Why did that? That's usually the foyer is usually where the stone is, and it protects the entire house.
Yeah.
So
No,
why?
I know, but because she closed this door, closed that door,
But then-
she imagined.
But does that mean that
a
if they
closed
closed
space.
the door at any other time, then a monster could have just like come in the back door?
If you're, I guess if we're flexible with these rules, if you imagine the whole house is protected but the bathroom isn't, then it's not.
Oh, you're saying it's powered off of what they imagine.
Yeah, so like if you left the bathroom door open, but you put up the rock and you like prayed,
Yeah.
like everything would be protected except that bathroom door.
Okay.
Like the
I
bathroom
see
door
what
would be
you're saying.
sealed, but the window,
I see what
yeah,
you're
they
saying.
could get into the
So
bathroom.
you're saying
but
there's
not
a
beyond that.
loophole because it's like what people want to be protected is protected unless
I
you
mean,
like break it.
We've seen a couple weird examples. We've seen the car. You know, it's all really about their willpower, about what needs to be protected. As long as it's an enclosed space that they can visualize, it works. You know, unless it's all bullshit, which
But
would be
it
the
doesn't,
greatest
because
turn of
when
events.
Jim is under the house, when the house breaks, Donna says talismans don't work that way. Like, you
Yeah.
can't
They
just
don't,
toss
because
one
it's
down to
all
them.
over the place.
But technically,
Because there's no enclosure there. They can get in.
the
They
rules
could
are
got
If they
there.
into the
covered the
RV.
whole rubble with tarp,
Right, the
yeah,
RV
but if
is
they
a problem
covered the
for me.
rubble with tarp and then hung the, they couldn't even, they didn't have anything to hang it on
Right.
when it
But
fell.
the house was completely covering him. So they couldn't have like
I mean, they found their way in. It wasn't really.
I mean, they didn't get to
enclosed.
Jim. I
They
don't
didn't
know.
In the
notice him.
car, they put up a blanket. You
Yeah,
know,
I
they'd
know.
have
That's
to
what I'm
close it
saying. Like
somehow.
that. Yeah, it was.
Has to be
yeah,
like a
that's-
bubble of.
I don't know.
It's
What does
it's very
what?
confusing.
Yeah, the foyer
But
is
Donna
a problem.
didn't know about the car situation. At the, like, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
She
Maybe
had
she
to have
didn't
at
like.
some point.
Yeah, they did.
She had to have been
Yeah,
told.
yeah.
But she wasn't
Boyd-
there for it.
but
Like,
Boyd-
she's
I
not
remember
trying
Boyd
to
telling
bend the
her.
rules.
I don't like. The problem for me is that for the foyer thing to have worked, then that means that if at any other point, well, the house, like it was just a regular night and the stone was up at the door. If somebody closed that foyer, then the rest of the house would have like ceded protection, and only the foyer would be protected because you're saying the door cuts the rest of the house off.
I think once you're in the bubble, you can move around the bubble in any way. It doesn't matter. Like if you're in the RV and you hung something up and you hung a blanket halfway through, cutting the car in half, both halves of the car are still protected because you're in the car.
Mm.
Whether the
But
blanket
then-
is up or not,
but
whether
then-
the
so
door is
the-
closed or not.
But so then the foyer being closed off and the monsters being in the house shouldn't have worked.
Well, when she touched it again, she put out
Reactivated?
it fell, right? So it
Yeah.
it broke. So she put it back up and she said foyer bubble. And that's what it was.
Activate talisman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be something like that, or they don't fucking work
think it's
at all.
bullshit. Yeah, I don't think they work. I don't think they work.
I would love if it's
I don't
bullshit.
think they work, and I
It's
think the
so
monsters
scary,
were
it's
just
true.
like, yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're just going with it.
I think that would break her. That would break her. You were in the jaws the whole time. You know how horrifying that is?
Yeah.
How terrifying that is? You've been in their mouth the whole time.
Oh,
But you know what else doesn't make sense? I was talking to Rachel how there has to be two different entities. Like it has to be the
Of course, yeah.
whole thing at the end seemed like the cicada thing and like the Julie and all of them being locked up in the cavern or whatever. From the dissection of the monster, it seems like that was the process that might turn people into monsters because they were all like dead and desiccated
Mhm.
on the inside, but they were still human. But then the entity in the cave with Boyd said that it likes hope, or the forest likes hope because the forest feeds off of hope. So it doesn't make sense that that entity would be making monsters because the monsters take away hope.
Right.
So
are there three entities?
Right?
Like, what's going on?
The monsters, do they take away hope? Because if they follow the rules, it gives them hope because the people are content because the monsters are manageable.
I guess, but I would have more hope about getting home if there weren't fucking monsters coming out every night and killing me.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one mystery after another. That's what's cute. It's so compelling. Like,
and then why are the trees moving?
Why are the trees
Well, the weather
moving?
is starting now, apparently. Like it never has. So
Lauren, in the trailer, the monsters are killing their cattle too. Like they're deliberately cutting off their resources. They're fucking with them bad. Oh, it's gonna be a good season. But so we have a Gryffindor and we have a Slytherin. And then we get to Jade. We love Jade.
My boy.
So I wonder if you put the cattle in the barn and put a talisman up at the barn, would the cattle be safe?
That would work. That'd be okay if the talismans work.
Yes.
If they work.
But if they broke in and let
Can
them
you
know the
guys
talismans
imagine
didn't
how
work?
they started
Wait,
testing
how are
those
you?
out?
Wait, how are you going to put the talisman up, close the door, and then touch the talisman?
So somebody would have to stay
You've
overnight
broken
with the
seal.
cattle. Somebody would have to sleep
Yeah.
there overnight with them.
That was Sarah's
unless
brother
you put
who
the
would
stone
have
on the
tended to
outside,
them.
but then you
Right.
can't.
Okay, well, we're up to Jade.
Anyway.
We'll come back to this at the end. Jade's not concerned with the talismans. Jade's
He's the
concerned
Messiah.
with
He's
everything
the
else.
Savior.
He's the Marvel
Jade's
Jesus.
the savior.
He's going to get them all home.
You think so? You think Jade is going to figure it out? Oh, my
He
money's
started
on Boyd.
a software company with nothing but imagination.
So we were talking about it. I think we've all talked about this, the theory that they're in Jade's
This man
video
could be
game
delusional.
simulation.
This man could be delusional. He's been high his entire life. We don't know what actually happened.
So Jade's a genius,
He's very
obviously.
good.
He's obviously a genius. He comes into town. He's like, I just sold my company for like $1 billion. My mind is an enigma. Like, you will not figure me out. And he's super high and ready to party and have so much fun.
This whole thing in his escape room that his rich friend put together for him.
Correct. So then we have his enormous ego where he's like, I fully believe that you like totally just did all this for me. This is great. I'm going to
go ahead and defend him off the bat.
Okay.
This is not typical behavior for my people. Okay, he was coming out of an acid trip, so the whole thing about monsters is kind of hard to swallow. You don't really know what's real, what's not. Who the fuck are these people? Where is my friend? You know, this has got to be a prank, because everything goes in the direction of Jade until he gets here.
One hallucination, George, when he sees the guy like with the boulder on him screaming, he immediately is like, "Yep, I'm in Monsterland. This is like whatever. Like something's going on."
No,
he doesn't. He
No,
thinks
you're
it's
right.
his friend.
No, he doesn't.
You're right.
He's like,
thinks
you're
it's
a
his friend.
genius.
Yeah,
he goes
out and yells like, "You're a genius!"
Sorry, I was trying to.
There's
be fair to
no.
him.
He also was like, "Wow, he spent so much money on this. Like that was a great special effect." Like
yeah. He says, "All for me." Is that my bike? Thank you so much. I love this bike.
Well, it'll do.
No, Jade's a Ravenclaw.
He's so fucking funny,
Ravenclaw.
and he's staying with the. I'm gonna keep saying.
He's staying with
I'm
Kenny,
pretty sure
Kenny's
that's
mom,
right.
and like,
Yeah. Every time somebody has to come stay at the house, he's like, "Why are you in my house? You're not."
Yeah, he just made himself comfortable. He's like, these fucking hippie freeloaders. In my house.
We just got these stinky guys out of our basement. Now we got you guys.
And Kenny's just like, oh my god, constantly just like, what do I do with this guy? I don't know what to do with this guy.
Mrs. Love loves
Absolutely
him.
no rubber gloves
She
when it
loves
comes to
him.
Victor.
She does love him. She really does.
He's so mean to Victor.
He's like, oh my
Steals
god,
his
Victor
stuff.
keeps not telling him shit.
Yeah, well, why won't he tell him shit? That's Victor's problem.
It's
What is
fine.
wrong with it?
That's what
Jade's
I'm saying.
problem. Why is
No,
Jade going after Victor like that? You know that he's got
Jade
serious
is trying
problems.
to collect information, which is rational. Everyone else seems to be like, "Oh, I found some really important information. Better keep that to myself."
The way he
way.
The way he like barters with Victor, he's like, "I'll play you Twinkle Twinkle Little Star if you tell me everything about the symbol," and like finally gets Victor to do it or whatever. So he plays Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and
He
the violin.
still lies.
And then Victor like tells him about but he gives him all the background information. The thing that he holds back is that he saw this symbol in the caverns, which like. Yes, that's important, but also like nobody in this town is telling anybody shit about what they see out there in the woods. So like I don't really, But
that doesn't make it better.
no, Jade loses his ever living fucking mind over the fact that Victor did not tell him about this. She's like, you lied. I played you Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You lied to me.
Well, we had a deal. You broke the contract. You know us Ravenclaws, we love our contracts. Rumple ass.
You will follow the rules. This is a lawless land. We cannot have that. It cannot be a lawless land. So it's also the fact that like how he's approaching the puzzle, right? It is completely all consuming him. He is no longer interested in relationships with people. He doesn't care. He like talks to the Matthews family like, what is this? Is this like a father-daughter moment thing? Like, what the fuck? I don't care.
This is cute. You're defending your dad.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I'll stop calling him Teacup. Sure. Since it bothers you.
That's call you Sparkplug.
Like, defending your father. What is that?
I'm going to call you Sparkplug though.
I'm going to call you Sparkplug. The constant like teasing of Jim, like poking at Jim, because Jim doesn't like that he smokes weed, and just like there's so many little things about him. But the big thing to me is the puzzle. He's living inside of it, like it's completely all consumed.
Yeah, it's all about the symbol for him.
He knows it's abstract too, so he's breaking glass. He's trying to visualize.
That's wild to me, George.
Yeah,
different perspectives.
Do you understand as a Ravenclaw the glass thing, like on a personal level? Because I don't get why that would mean anything. Or
I understood that.
I mean, absolutely.
Why?
He's breaking different.
You
jars,
come at it from a different
glasses.
perspective. It breaks open new ways of
He's
thought
trying
patterns.
I don't get it.
Like if you take all the
revisualizing
multiple colored jars, and you smash them, right?
Yeah.
You now have to problem solve. How are you going to put those pieces back together? And then you use those skills in the real world where it's like, I've got multiple problems at once. What skills did I pick apart from this micro problem that can help me with the big problem?
Why can't you just think about it? Why do you
so you can see
spoken like a Gryffindor.
So just think about it.
So
there are strategies that you need to use, okay? You can learn strategies that apply to grand scheme. It's kind of like when you have a problem in real life. I can't count the number of times I put a pin in something, and I just go about living my life. And then I'll just find a solution in the wild that just might work. I'll come back and try to unpin
Rachel,
it.
it's the same thing as Jim, like, writing everything on the wall. Like, that's what basically what he was doing in the class.
Okay.
So one of the funny things, Kenny's mom shows him how to do the electricity so they can bring it to the radio, and then he
just complain.
He goes,
"You want electric?"
He goes to the Matthews house and like shows them, and is like, "I figured it out." And he's like, "I'm sure you would have gotten it eventually, but I got it." Just like showing them. But one other thing Rachel and I were talking about too is Tabitha, who I hear another microsaur, is a Gryffindor, and she's like the only person that these creepy ass children are showing up to. Probably because she's a mother who recently lost a baby. There probably is some connection to that. But these creepy drowned looking children are showing up to her, their hallucinations, because nobody else is able to see them at first. And they say this weird word that's totally made up. It's a cooey. Cooey. And her whole part of the quest, as Ethan would call it, is like, you have to save the children. So that's like the thread that she's been following. But you can see how focused she is on the children and how she's like, I'm not afraid of you, even though she's like terrified, but she like wants to save these children. She ends up going alone without telling anybody where she's going or asking if they want to come with her to the lighthouse in order to save the children. That's what Victor told her his mom went and did or tried to do. And the little boy pushes out the window. But Jade ends up somewhat picking up this thread because Tabitha has told them that she's been seeing these children, and he came upon her when she had just seen them. And he also asks about the cavern where Victor and her saw the symbol, which is the first time that she saw the children. So Jade also goes down into these caves without telling anybody where he's going or what's happening, for no reason.
The Gryffindor-Ravenclaw overlap is
right
real here.
Yes, and but gets down into the cavern, and the children appear for him and are on slabs of rock, like about to be sacrificed. It looks like doing their little akui thing. Jade does not pay them a single bit of attention. The symbol is up on the ceiling, and he's staring up at it like,
I was right. You little fuckers are looking at that. Like, he didn't care about them at all. And this is not to say that Ravenclaws don't care about children.
No.
It's
Distress. Just like this.
But it's the puzzle.
Like, the emotional thing was what was tugging on Tabitha and why she was following the thread, right? And Jade was like, "Where are the lines in the circle? I want to see them."
Yeah, yeah, that's true. The big thing for me too, like you just see the difference between him and Tabitha with Victor. He literally grabs Victor and shakes him. He's like, "Tell me what you fucking know." Like The man's been here for like 30 years alone. Why do you think that shaking him is going to work? Well, he's like, well, has anyone tried shaking him? You people don't try anything. Obviously, I have to save you. And he's not doing it for them. Like, Boyd is doing it for them. Jade is like, I need to get out of here. I'm going to help you all get out of here. But I really, like, I got to get out of here. He's not, like, forming emotional connections with anyone.
No,
he's really not.
He wants to be the one to get them all out of there to then turn around and say, I figured it out. I got you all.
Of course.
Like, yeah.
I think Jim has a little bit of that too. I really do. And well, because I think Jim's also
it's a small. I think it's at a smaller. Like he wants to turn to his family and be like, "I did it. I got you all out." Yeah.
And come back.
Be like,
to
this
me,
is why you shouldn't divorce me.
Exactly. It's man, that whole thing.
I think
with the
it's
radio.
so interesting that the two Ravenclaws are facing a problem that they that most people, no one can figure out. Even the viewer can't figure out.
Yeah.
And so they go and reconstruct what is a problem. Let's see.
Right?
So he's like breaking the glass. He's writing on the wall. They're both trying to figure out how to solve problems.
They
like,
could probably figure so much out. Just that your house doesn't get along with each other.
Well, and it's like those two specific. Sometimes they do. It's those two specific.
Sometimes.
No, that was another thing too, Rachel. When George was saying like Boyd's a Ravenclaw, I was like, how? When the radio, everybody's like, the radio just does that. And like the second Jade turns up, he like stares at it and grabs it and runs around town with it in his arms for like 5 hours.
What the fuck do you mean it just does that? This could be everything.
Also, I was also talking to Rachel about how like the diner randomly plays fucking songs and nobody is like, do you think the entity is trying to say something? They're just like, oh yeah, a song. It's
right? I know.
It's a glitch.
Except
it's a glitch
once,
in the Matrix.
when there's an emotional connection to the song for Boyd, he's like, a sign from my wife. Like,
Stop! I feel so bad for him.
No, it wasn't the entity manipulating him into doing what he wanted after he said out loud that he was looking for a sign. So
I also like immediately if you drop me here, I would approach Victor so differently that I would immediately understand like he's been here forever. He needs like emotional support and guidance or whatever. And Jade is like, don't you want to fucking go home? And Victor's like, I don't have a home. This is my
I don't
home.
know anywhere else.
That didn't occur to Jade at all. He looks so bamboozled by that when he says that to him. He's like, what do you mean? Anywhere's better than here. No, it doesn't matter that it's a shithole. It's a shithole.
It's a shithole.
Meanwhile, you've got Victor, another fucking Ravenclaw, who's like, this place is my system, actually. I'm not leaving. Like, everything.
I'm actually controlling the whole thing.
He might be, man. If it's the childlike mind of a Ravenclaw controlling the whole thing, I would understand. I would go with that.
I'd like to navigate you guys to Jade's relationship with Miss Lou.
Okay.
And I want to see why that happens or why.
Well, I can tell you what I think Miss Lou is.
Because she's very straight to the point. She's not beating around the bush.
George, have you sorted Miss Lou? I can tell you what I think she is.
I have no idea.
I think she's a Slytherin.
Okay. Just because she's straight to the point and she gets shit done.
No, there's legit reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
the reasons?
The way that Kenny describes how she feels about her husband's death, how she's like, if I had been there, I could have done something.
Fault.
And she's not, there's no outward sign of that. She's not like saying it to Kenny, but Kenny can hear her crying every night. Like that's something that she's really carrying around with her, but she's not showing that to anybody. And it's not affecting her ability to like do the work that she needs to do for the town. The fact that she like on a smaller scale than Donna, like the diner is hers. She feeds the town, like, you know, like, and she can make food out of anything. And she is doing it successfully. Like even now that they're rationing, I still haven't seen her having a problem like feeding everybody correctly. I guess we'll see how that continues. We don't get a ton of her, which I think is a shame because I think she's an awesome character. But I think she's very like focused. She's very, I'm gonna do this and like does it. She's not falling apart like Donna, and I think that's because she has Kenny. To be totally honest, she has somebody who she like needs to be like. Donna's obviously like in charge of Colony House, but she has somebody who she's really invested in keeping. Like Kenny is her person now that her husband's dead, is really invested in keeping alive and like keeping up a like face for. Like she has to make sure that Kenny doesn't break, so she can't like be showing anything. Yeah, I love her. I think she's great. I think maybe she'll be the one to get them all out of there.
There's a recipe. And she'll figure it out.
Seriously, like
Cook
like
the
what you guys
bile
said
into
earlier.
the food and feed it
This
to the monster.
Jade's like complaining about electricity, and she's like, "It's right here. Like, why are you here complaining? Just go do it. Like, you're so annoying."
And Kenny tries to rationalize with Jade. Kenny tries emotionally to get through because I believe Kenny's a Hufflepuff. I think he's the only Hufflepuff on the show. And he tries desperately to try to get through to Jade. He's like, man, come on. And Jade's like, leave me. I have things to do. I have things to solve in my house. And he's like, what do you fucking mean your house? But Jade just makes the space for himself and they allow it. So like he just takes over that too. And then immediately is like, keep these stinking hippies off of my property. It's the most Ravenclaw reaction. Every reaction this man has is the most Ravenclaw reaction, like textbook that you could have to something. It's so funny. He entertains me to no end. And when he does get emotionally invested in something, it's when he sees real serious suffering. So he sees Mrs. Liu crying and he sees, what's Jim and Tabitha's daughter's name? Julie, like suffering really, really badly when she's basically possessed and she's screaming. And he's like, that kid should be at prom. Like this shouldn't be happening. And so then that drives him a little bit further, but he really needs to see like a severe emotional reaction. And even sometimes that doesn't work because he doesn't sympathize with Victor. He really doesn't. Like, if you look at Victor, you can see he's in serious psychological distress, but he doesn't get it.
He doesn't. Yeah, he connected to Mrs. Liu because the story with his aunt. Like he connected to that.
But
on
they
a
also
level.
haven't wronged him though. Like Victor
broke a
is
promise.
lying to him.
Thank you for clarifying.
There's something fucking wrong with Victor. Okay, he needs to get he needs a swirly. That's what he needs.
Okay. We're not
needs a
doing
dash of
that
reality.
here, you fucking Ravenclaw lunatic. We're not doing that to people here. No. Of course there's something wrong with him.
I'll
There's
make him
something wrong
talk.
with
Give
all
me
of them.
30 minutes with him. Give me 5 minutes with him.
Okay, Jade.
This man's going to
That
shut
got
down
him
in his
real far.
brain and never reappear. Like, that's what's going to happen. He's going to go inside his brain like fucking Buffy in the Asylum episode where she's living
Who,
two
Victor?
lives. Yeah. That's if
I think
Jade,
I'm
tries
scared
to
it's gonna
swirly
happen
him.
to Jade too.
Yeah.
I'm really scared what's happening to Jade. There's a shot of him in the trailer. He's laying on the floor and there's just threads like Charlie Kelly in that one episode of Always Sunny above him and he's just staring at them.
Pepe Silva!
Pepe Silva. He's just screaming. Yeah, it's going to get real bad.
Charlie, another famous Ravenclaw.
Exactly. Yeah, all of you somehow are connected to one another.
There is no Carol in
Multiverse of
HR.
Ravenclaw.
Oh my God. I can't
Except there
believe
is. She's in Mythic Quest.
It's that Victor wronged him and that's why he can't emotionally connect to him because he finds Julie fascinating. He's like, that's cute. You stand up for your father. That's a thing that people do, I guess. Fun to see it in real life. Okay, cute. Great. You're a kid. You should have fun and joy. He doesn't do that with Ethan though. Ethan's like, I get it.
You're a creepy fucking kid.
You're fucking creepy kid. Poor Ethan is surrounded by Ravenclaws. He goes to Victor and he's like, I brought you a gift. It's a shitty gift. The orange one doesn't
The
work.
markers don't work.
The markers suck.
Bad
I don't
gift.
want to play with you anymore.
Bad gift.
Here's your jacket. Where'd you find that? Give me it.
Yeah.
That was a
Ethan is
really
just
good
trying
impression.
to navigate this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Patrick
so
Star.
Jade's like emotional capacity is only for a specific few. It's like 2 people. And that's it. And don't wrong him. Yeah. Oh, also, Lauren brought up something great about him talking to the hallucination of Tom. He's like, if
Wait,
you're
which one's
here, you're a
Tom?
figment
The
of my
bartender.
imagination. The bartender. He's like, then you're
yeah,
gonna
when
work.
he's in the bar alone.
Get to work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he makes him immediately start working on
He's
it.
like, oh, you're a hallucination? Start working for me. Help me puzzle this
Yeah.
out. Like, what's happening? He's like, I know that you're an hallucination in my stressed out mind.
He's even trying to get his subconscious working on the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no time for you to be having this like little fun with me, this little scary shit. Like, let's go. What did the bottles
Yeah.
mean?
Need all cylinders firing on this problem right now.
His brain must be so overheated. Like, I can't imagine. He's running out of weed.
Well, he's on his last
He's fixing
roll.
the potato vodka, right? Like, that's...
Yeah.
It's fixed.
He's fixed
It's
that.
fixed.
He got here and immediately started fixing it. Oh my God. Ugh. Yeah, he's so very entertaining.
Oh, he is. You're reminding me of this. So when he first goes into the bar, the bus driver is there. I forget her name. Batika or
Bacta.
Bacta.
Okay, yeah. He goes into the bar and the bar and the bus driver's there, and he's like, "Is there any place where I can be alone?" And he's like, "Wait, you were driving the bus. Tell me about the bus. Tell me
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
people
yeah.
who died." And
She's like, they were my responsibility. This was my route. I took them here. And he's like, it's not your fucking
You were
responsibility.
riding a bus. How good could your life have been?
Like, he's such a little shit, man. But he's dead serious.
Yeah.
Like, he laughs
and he
at
lays it
he's
out for her.
serious.
He's like, was that
Never be
before or
cut
after the
dead on a
birds?
bus. Oh yeah, he's like,
You were
it
screwed
wasn't
anyway.
your fault. Yeah.
Yeah. And that poor woman is like, but it wasn't. He's like, nope. I've already gone through this.
You can absolve yourself. You're fine.
I would have loved to see him with Khatri. I would have loved to see Jade and Father Khatri in a room together. That would have
killed each other.
I needed to see it. I need to see it.
Well, we're going to find out if the people that die actually get out. Because if Khatri's dead, he's out.
What if Abby
and
was
so's
right?
the wife.
What if Abby was
what
right?
if they're out?
Oh, so like Tabitha,
so
Tabitha got pushed out of the tower and died, and now she's back in the real world. Okay,
maybe
that's possible.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe Egward was a portal or some shit.
So the monsters are helping people by ripping their chests open.
Maybe.
No, because I'm thinking if the monster gets you, then you've been farmed. But if you kill yourself or you're killed by another person, then you're out.
Okay.
These rules are unfair.
Yeah.
That's unfair. That's the game
the thing
that's not
I was
fair.
saying. That's what I was saying. Like, this is all, like, I can't solve this mystery because, like, they're giving me a made-up word as a clue and, like, a made-up children's poem. Like, I don't know.
You're not Googling shit. It's brilliant. It's
not brilliant, though, because I can't solve it.
I know, but it's going to keep you coming back for season 3, isn't it? Are you going to watch season 3, Lauren? Or are you going to, like,
I don't know. I honestly
episode?
Don't.
Rachel and I believe that
does it drop like weekly?
Yes.
I hate that.
Well, get to loving it. I love it. I can't wait. I love when TV shows do that now. I don't like the binge format. I appreciate that I have to wait. It gives me time to discuss with people. I be online in these forums.
The Gryffindor likes punishment. What a surprise.
It's
Can
not
we learn
punishment.
from Stranger Things and just get it at once?
No, because it's too much. It's too much at once.
Then watch it slower. Don't impose your shit on us.
All right, Ravenclaw, relax.
Do you want to
get what you get?
Do you want to sort anybody else?
I think we pretty much have like name dropped the big ones that we have sorted throughout the episode.
We didn't do Ellis or Fatima or Christy.
We haven't once spoken
Julie.
about Christy this entire
And
night.
Christy's incredibly important too.
I like Christy.
They'd all be fucked without her.
Yeah.
They really would.
Yeah.
And there's also the mystery of like her girlfriend showed up or her fiance showed up. Like,
right.
Yeah.
That's insane. On a bus filled with all these people and like with Elgin, there's so much.
Oh, I love Elgin.
Going
So
on.
the
I love
people
Elgin.
are intentional. Elgin's intentional. The Tilly's intentional.
Right.
Not Tilly. What's the girlfriend's name?
Marielle.
Marielle.
Marielle's intentional.
Yeah, definitely. So with Christy, I honestly, guys, I can't give you the reason. I just think she's a Ravenclaw. I can't give you the reason. It's process of elimination for me. She's not the other 3.
There's
and
no
very
emotional.
methodical mind, extremely methodical mind. Even when she's talking to Marielle, when Marielle gets there, it's like she really can't believe it, and it's in front of her, and Marielle's like freaking out, asking for an explanation, and Christy is standing
you gotta
there.
hear this.
She's a little tear. She's misty eyed, but she's like, I can't even she can't get the words out. Like, she tries very hard. And it's also part of having to work in the medical profession, right? She was 3 years into medical school?
Yeah, she was in a third year.
And you have to figure out the bedside manners. So when that girl is stuck in the tree, she's sitting there talking to her. And where I, as a Gryffindor, don't think that conversation needed to happen, or I would think you should lie to her and then put her down easy. She was like, no, I grant you the respect of being told the truth. Like about what's happening to you. I believe that you deserve that. And we're going to do our best to make you comfortable. But yeah, you're dying. You're dying, babe.
There was not a Ravenclaw in sight there, because
but it's
if
also
I
the
saw
puzzle.
her,
It's also the puzzle.
I would have shot on sight.
But it's also the puzzle of the monster's body too. Like Boyd wanted it. Kenny didn't want it. Kenny, like Hufflepuff, very much didn't want it. Like he could see both sides of it, but he leaned towards like absolutely not. And Christy was like,
took precedence
she's like, shut the fuck up, both of you. Like the only way to figure the puzzle out is to open him up. Like her way of puzzling things out is through medical knowledge. So it's through
And what
the
did
body,
they get? Useless bile.
which drives her insane, right? Like it just she's driven insane by like there's nothing in here. Like you see her first real freak out is over that. And she really just asks, like, either support me or get the fuck out. Like it's very cut and dry. She's very, very cut and dry. And even the stuff with Kenny, like she tries, to let him down gently and make him feel better. But ultimately the person that she cared about is back. And so we can't be playing around with this like fantasy thing anymore. Like my person's here. Like, that's done. That's over. Also really matter of fact about it. So she gives me very Ravenclaw. I don't know how you guys feel about her.
I honestly
I'd give
hadn't.
it a Logic House.
Yeah, I honestly hadn't really thought about Christy. Nothing you said pinged me as something I wanted to fight.
Great.
Yeah.
So we'll place her there. But I'm just telling you, there's like 6 Ravenclaws here, and that's never happened. Like I'm telling you, we've done how many shows and movies now? It's like never.
What does it matter?
happened.
Nobody talks.
Because it's all Ravenclaws.
They
You
might as well
understand?
be on different shows.
Because they're all Ravenclaws. You're not talking to each other, bro. You're not sharing anything. And poor Boyd and Donna,
I feel like that's
who would
the
be,
first
are
thing
broken.
I would do. I would call a town meeting.
Oh,
and
really?
I would
Because I
collect
feel like you'd be
everyone's
like Jade,
information.
and Jade didn't do that because he's lone wolfing it too, just like Boyd is. It's just a different
Well, he's trying to see how
brain.
far he can get on his own. You know, you don't want to play that card because if you play that card and you yield nothing, then you're really up Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, so. There's also Sarah. We haven't discussed Sarah's house.
She's
but
a
she has to be
Ravenclaw.
Logic House, and
She's
she
a
probably
Ravenclaw.
falls in Ravenclaw. Yeah, she does. George, another one of yours.
Thanks a lot.
Great, you're doing great.
Thanks a lot.
I don't
Alice.
want her. Can
Alice
I
is a
have Boyd again?
Gryffindor.
Fully.
Boyd
Alice is
spawned
fully
one.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
I think Abby was a Slytherin.
Do you?
Fatima.
Okay, I can see that.
I do.
Fatima, I also think is a Gryffindor.
She could be.
I don't know,
she
Rachel.
could be,
I
but
a Ravenclaw.
I
And
wouldn't
Slytherin
have that
wouldn't
baby, so I don't
Well, yeah, I know. I know.
Lauren, she's probably a Slytherin. I'm sorry, but she's probably a Slytherin because Bella Swan kept that fucking baby too.
I don't think
people
she's
and your
a Slytherin.
apocalyptic babies.
There's no way she would have been out there that long for total fucking strangers when Alice is there freaking the fuck out and almost dying because he's staying out there with her.
So then maybe she's a Hufflepuff that just she sees the value in everyone and in their community, and she feels responsible like for her role to be rallying these people in, because when people do come in, they put her there too. Like Donna appoints her, like, go talk to Julie, calm Julie down, explain to her how it works. She'll be like, Victor, stop
she's their
freaking
proxy.
people out. Yeah, so she might be a Hufflepuff.
Maybe we can't sort her because she's not a fucking person.
Maybe she's not. Maybe she's one of the monsters. Like, we
Well, if
don't
she's
know,
a Hufflepuff,
man.
then Kenny's not the only Hufflepuff.
That's true. He's not alone. Poor Kenny.
We'll be forever alone.
Stop.
The show is shot so weird. Like in episode 2, they start off with this scene where he's chopping a tree, and it was like very Walking Dead because they never do that thing where they chop between the timeline again. And then in episode 4, they have this random sex scene, and they were like trying to figure out, are we going to be an R-rated show?
Yeah, I don't think
or,
it's
like,
that it's the
and
show's
then they
weird. I
just
think
cut
it's that
that
they were
too.
figuring out like what shots they wanted to put in, what worked and what didn't. And season 2 is much more cohesive. And
Season 1 was so experimental.
Yeah, of course. Had to be. Who else are we missing?
It's like everybody, man.
I guess it is. Do we need to explain why Alice is a Gryffindor? Look at him.
I don't think
Listen
so.
to him.
I really don't
we
think
need
so.
to talk about it. I think we
I
got
really
it.
Let's
don't
sort
think
the
so.
boy in white.
White is a fucking Ravenclaw. And so is the entity, and
Who
so
knows
are the
what the hell he
dogs.
is?
Everyone here is Ravenclaw. That's why this whole system is
Even-
fucky.
You even see ravens coming into the damn town.
Exactly. Even though that's not your house mascot, but I feel you.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, it's crows, right? It's an unkindness of crows or an unkindness of ravens. I can't remember.
It's a
Well,
murder. It's a murder of
A murder of
crows.
crows is
And
what they saw.
unkindness of ravens.
And then they try to
Is the
convince them
same.
it's an unkindness of ravens. Yeah.
Mm.
Because remember, Julie
Well,
was
she
like,
just
ha
says
ha,
that
it's a
'cause the
murder,
boy's sad.
ha ha. And then Tabitha was like, no, they could have been ravens, and that's only an unkindness. Like, still not that great,
Mhm.
Tabitha, but whatever.
She's doing her best. She's
Yeah.
doing her best. I think that's pretty much, yeah, I can't think of anyone else that I have like major reasonings to. Like other people are just like vibey, you know? But yeah, like I'm not sorting Randall. I don't know what he is. He just makes me mad.
Yes,
Just
you do.
pisses
You
me
told me what he is.
told you he's my brother.
Yeah,
I told
and
my
what's your brother?
My brother's a Slytherin. You want him? Okay, take him.
I don't want him, but
Put him next to Ross Gallagher.
I
and all the other ones
absolutely
you
don't want him. But he like is clearly a conspiracy theorist nut and probably did exactly what a Slytherin conspiracy theorist nut would do.
Him versus Donna, Slytherin versus Slytherin. Yeah, the butting of heads. Yeah. Oof. Well, From comes back September 22nd. Get MGM Plus. Try the show out. I promise you that you're going to be obsessed with it. You're going to nonstop want to watch. It's to the point that me and George just miss it. Like, we miss being in the vibe of the town. We turn it back on like a comfort blankie. I don't know what that is. It's because we haven't figured it out, and we're like, maybe we'll see something new on this watch. And at this point, we've got everything memorized, like front to back, and it's still compelling upon every single watch. So please check it out. You don't have to wait that much longer for season 3. And it's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. Oh my God, I'm going to clear my whole schedule. I'm not going to do anything else that day.
So many theories and still have nowhere
to
land on anything.
And it's great. I love that. Tell me nothing but keep me wanting. It's fantastic. Well, there's going to be answers this season to some capacity. There has to be.
Something.
They've pushed the
2
boundaries.
seasons and we have nothing, so.
Well, Tabitha is, I believe, visiting Victor's family on the outside. I think that's why she had the lunchbox, to prove, like, I'm with your son, if that's his father, or I'm with your brother, if his sister made it out. So
we saw a bottle tree outside.
Bottle trees outside that whoever this
the children paintings in the basement.
But my issue is that if they're gonna have her stay outside, they're gonna have to introduce more characters that have gotten out. So I feel like then they would have to do the whole, like, if you kill yourself, you get out. Then she'll have more people to interact with. Otherwise, she's going to see Victor's family and then find her way back.
I think it's you have to exit through the lighthouse. I think that might just be it. It's not like what Abby said, where you just die or there's rules with the monster. I think it's you just have to exit through the lighthouse.
One of the really good theories on Reddit is just like the importance of, well, it's not really a theory. It's just emphasizing the importance of light in this show. How Boyd
Rachel was telling me about water, but what's with the children then, George?
They're drowned. They have to be. They look drowned.
Well, to me, they look burned.
I don't see singeing on them. They
but what is the point of the children?
White, but the bottom
what's the entire point of them? Why does the entity need at least one child there? Why?
There are markings in the cave that talk about like a ritual, and they show depictions of people and other creatures or people transforming into creatures, and then there's this big red creature on the walls down there. So there's like a whole chess game of going on here, but then the light itself is, I don't know why this world revolves around light, but
the electricity.
You see Boyd turns on the electricity comes from nowhere. Boyd turns on a light and he's teleported around. So she goes to the lighthouse and she's teleported back home. Light is somehow turning things on and off.
It's light and
I don't even know if this is relevant.
Significant too.
I haven't seen anyone mention this, and it's a very tiny thing. It's really stupid. But in the first episode, it's the only time I've noticed it, is when everyone enters the diner and the Matthews family sits down. I think it's the Matthews family. They're above their table where they're having dinner. Their light is the only one that's off. Yep. And everyone else's lights are on. Yeah. That's the kind of psycho shit we're doing when we're watching this episode. We're like, hey, you see that? Yeah. There's no light on. What does that mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer. All we have is noticings. Okay, so eventually we're going to be able to put the puzzle together. Essentially, it's like we're all Jade, right? Like Jade's like the viewer's voice at this point. At least to me, like he was asking questions and saying things that we were asking and questioning. Like, I appreciate him very much. But I do think that Boyd will be the one to get them out. My money is on Boyd getting them out. Come back here in 3 or 4 years when the show is over and tell me that I was right.
Jade's gonna figure it out and die.
Oh, before he can tell anybody?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Do you think he's going to die or like go back to he's going to be like Tabitha?
Like one way or the other. He just won't be the one to tell.
And he doesn't say anything about anybody. He just goes about his life.
He just does it. Yeah. He tries to take Miss Lou with him, and he's just all right, peace, guys.
Oh my God. Okay, well, thanks for being on here, George.
Rachel, happy birthday. Her birthday's on August 21st. Yay.
I'm gonna be
thank
21.
you, George, for being here. Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you on the next one.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at @SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!